Chapter 82 The Orgy Door. Far away. The world was all we talk about. February was grand, it was really at its worst. That's when practically nobody was talking to us, and Julian had started leaving notes in our lockers. The notes to Jack were stupid, like, you stink, bitches, and nobody likes you anymore. I got notes like, freak, and another that said, get out of our school or summer talk, we should report the notes to Mrs. Rubin, who was the middle school dean, or even Mr. Thurstman. But we thought that would be like snitching. Anyways, it's not like we didn't leave notes too, though our were not really mean. They were kind of funny and sarcastic. One was, you are so pretty, Julian. I love you. Will you marry me? Love Ballad. Another was, love your hair. XOX Ballad. Another word, you are a babe, tickle my feet. XO Bella. Bella was a made-up person that me and Jack came up with. She had really gross habits, like eating the green stuff between her toes and sucking on her knuckles. And we figured someone like that would have a real crush on Julian, who looked and acted like someone in a Kiss Bob commercial. There were also a couple of times in February when Julian, Miles, and Henry played tricks on Jack. They didn't play tricks on me, I think, because they knew that if they got caught willing me, it would be a big time trouble for them. Jack, they figured, was an easier target. So one time they stole his gym shorts and played monkey in the middle with them in the locker room. Another time Miles, who sat next to Jack in the homeroom, swiped Jack good shit off his desk, crumpled it in a bowl, and tossed it to Julian across the room. This wouldn't have happened if Miss Petosa had been there, of course, but there was a substitute teacher that day, and subs never really know what's going on. Jack was good about this stuff. He never let them see he was upset, though I think sometimes he was. The other kids in the grade knew about the world, except for Savannah group. The girls were neutral at first, but by March they were getting sick of it, and so were some of the boys. Like another time when Julian was dumping some pencils, sharpeners, savings into Jack's backpack. Amos, who was usually tight with them, grabbed the backpack out of Julian's hands and returned it to Jack. It was starting to feel like the majority of boys were not buying into Julian anymore. Then a few weeks ago, Julian started spreading this ridiculous rumor that Jack had hired some hitman to get him and Miles and Harry. This lie was so pathetic that people were actually laughing about him behind his back. At that point, any boys who had still been on his side now jumped ship and were clearly neutral. So by the end of March, only Miles and Henry were on Julian's side, and I think even they were getting tired of the war by then. I'm pretty sure everyone stopped playing the Bargill game behind my back too. No one really cringed if I bump into them anymore, and people borrow my pencils without acting like the pencil had cooties. People even joke around with me now sometimes, like the other day I saw Maya writing a note to Ellie on a piece of ugly doll stationery, and I don't know why, but I just kind of randomly said, did you know the guy who created the ugly dolls based on me? Maya looked at me with her eyes wide open like she totally believed me. Then when she realized I was only kidding, she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. You are so funny, August, she said. And then she told Ellie and some of the other girls what I had said, and they all thought it was funny too. Like at the first, they were shocked, but then when they saw I was laughing about it, they knew it was okay to laugh about it too. And the other day, I found a little ugly doll keychain sitting on my chair with a nice little note from Maya that said, "For the nicest orgy doll in the world, XO Maya." 6 months ago, stuff like that would never have happened, but now it happens more and more. Also, people have been real nice about the hearing aids I started wearing.
Chapter 83 Lobo. Ever since I was little, the doctor told my parents that someday I need hearing aids, and I don't know why this always freaked me out a bit. Maybe because anything to do with my ears bother me a lot. My hearing was getting worse, but I hadn't told anyone about it. The awesome sound that was always in my head had been getting louder. It was drowning out people's voice, like I was underwater. I couldn't hear teachers if I sat in the back of the class, but I knew if I told mom or dad about it, I'd end up with hearing aids, and I was hoping I could make through the 5th grade without having that happen. But then in my annual checkup in October, I found the audiology test and the doctor would do each time. And he sent me to a special ear doctor who took impressions of my ears. Out of my own features, my ears are the ones that I hate the most. They are like tiny ghost fish on the sides of my face. They are too low on my head too. They look like squashed piece of pizza dough sticking out the top of my leg or something. Okay, maybe I exaggerating a little, but I really hate them. When the ear doctor first pulled the hearing aids out for me and mom to look at, I groaned. I am not wearing that thing, I announced, folding my arms in front of me. I know they probably look kind of big, said the ear doctor, but we had to attach them to the headband because we had no other way of making them so they'd stay in your ears. See, normal hearing aids usually have a part that wraps around the outer ear to hold the inner buds in place. But in my case, since I don't have outer ears, they had to put the earbuds on this heavy-duty headband that was supposed to wrap around the back of my head. I can wear that more, I cried. You hardly notice them, said mom, trying to be cheerful. They look like headphones. Headphones? Look at them, mom, I said angrily. I will look like a robot. Which one, dear? Robot, said mom calmly. Robot? The doctor smiled as he looked. The ear doctor smiled as he looked at the headphones and made some adjustments. The ambassador, the bad guy with the cool bionic radio transmitter thing that wrapped around the back of his skull. I'm drawing a blank, said mom. You know Star Wars stuff? I asked the ear doctor. No, the Star Wars stuff, he answered, slipping the thing over my head. I practically invented Star Wars stuff. He leaned back in his chair to see how the headband fit and then took it off again. Now, Oji, I want to explain what all this is, he said, pointing to the different parts of one of the hearing aids The curved piece of plastic over here connects to the tubing on the ear mouth. That's why we took those impressions back in December. So that this part goes inside your ear feet nice snug. This part is called the thorn hook, okay? And this thing is a special part we will attach to this cradle here. The low part I said miserably. Hey, the bossy cool, said the ear doctor. It's not like we are saying you are going to look like Yaya, you know? That could be bad. He slid the earphones on my head again carefully. There you go, August. So how is that? Totally uncomfortable, I said. You get used to them very quickly, he said. I looked in the mirror. My eyes started tearing up. All I saw was the tooth jutting out from either side of my head. 9 and 10. Do I really have to wear this, Mom? I said, trying not to cry. I hate them. They don't make any difference. Give it a second, buddy, said the doctor. I haven't even turned them on yet. Wait until you hear the difference. You want to hear them? No, I won't. And then he turned them on.
Hearing brightly. How can I describe when I heard when the doctor turned on my hearing aids, or what I didn't hear? It's too hard to think of words. The ocean that wasn't living inside my head anymore. It was gone. I could hear sounds like shining lights in my brain. It wasn't like when you're in a room where one of the light bulbs on the ceiling isn't working, but you don't realize how dark it is until someone changes the light bulbs and then you're like, wow, it's so bright in here. I don't know if there's a word that means the same as bright in the terms of hearing, but I wish I knew one, because my ears was hearing brightly now. How does it sound, Augie? Said the ear doctor. Can you hear me okay, buddy? I looked at him and smiled, but I didn't answer. Sweetie, do you hear anything different? Said Mom. You don't have to shout, Mom. I nodded happily. Are you hearing better? Asked the ear doctor. I don't hear that noise anymore. I answered. It's so quiet in my ears. The white noise is gone, he said, nodding. He looked at me and winked. I told you you're like what you heard, August. He made more adjustments on the left hearing aids. Does it sound very different, love? Mom asked. Yes, I nodded. It sounds lighter. That's because you have bionic hearing now, buddy, said the ear doctor, adjusting the right side. Now touch here. He pushed my hand beside the hearing aid. Do you feel that? That's the volume. You have to find the volume that works for you. We're going to do that next. Well, what do you think? He picked up a small mirror and had me look in the big mirror at how the hearing aids look in my back. My hairs covered most of the headband. The only part that picked out was the top wing. Are you okay with your new bionic robot hearing aids? The ear doctor asked, looking in the mirror at me. Yes, I said. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. James, said Mom. The first day I showed up at school with the hearing aids, I thought kids would make a big deal about it, but no one did. Summer was glad I could hear better, and Jack said it would make me look like an FBI agent or something. But that was it. Mr. Brown asked me about it in English class, but it wasn't like, what the heck is that in your head? It was more like, if you ever need me to repeat something, Augie, make sure you tell me, okay? Now that I look back, I don't know why I was so stressed about it all the time. Funny how some things you worried a lot about something and it's turned out to be nothing.
Chapter 88 Daisy's Toys. Justin came over about half an hour later. He gave me a big hug and said, "Sorry, Augie." We all sat down in the living room, not saying anything. For some reason, Via and I had taken all of Daisy's toys from around the house and had put them in a little pile on the coffee table. Now we just stared at the pile. "She really is the greatest dog in the world," said Via. "I know," said Justin, rubbing Via's back. "She just started whimpering like all of a sudden," I said. Via nodded. "Like 2 seconds after you left the table," she said. "Mom was going to go after you, but Daisy just started like whimpering." "Like how?" "Holland?" I asked. "Augie, like whimpering," she answered impatiently. "She just started moaning like something was really hurting her, and she was panting like crazy. Then she just kind of plopped down, and Mom went over and tried to pick her up, and whatever, she was obviously hurting. She bit Mom." "What?" I said. "When Mom tried to touch her stomach, Daisy bit her hand," Via explained. "Daisy never bites anybody," I answered. "She wasn't herself," said Justin. "She was obviously in pain." "Daddy was right," said Via. "We shouldn't have let her get this bad." "What do you mean?" I said. "He knew she was sick?" "Augie, Mom's taken her to the vet like 3 times in the last 2 months. She's been throwing up left and right. Haven't you noticed?" "But I didn't know she was sick." Via didn't say anything, but she put her arm around my shoulders and pulled me closer to her. I started to cry again. "I'm sorry, Augie," she said softly. "I'm really sorry about everything, okay? You forgive me? You know how much I love you, right?" I nodded. Somehow that fight didn't matter much now. "Was Mommy bleeding?" I asked. "It was just a nip," said Via. "Right there." She pointed to the bottom of her thumb to show me exactly where Daisy had bitten Mom. "Did it hurt her?" "Mommy's okay, Augie. She's fine." Mom and Dad came home 2 hours later. We knew the second they opened the door and Daisy wasn't with them that Daisy was gone. We all sat down in the living room around the pile of Daisy's toys. Dad told us what happened at the animal hospital, how the vet took Daisy for some x-rays and blood tests, then came back and told them she had a huge mass in her stomach. She was having trouble breathing. Mom and Dad didn't want her to suffer, so Daddy picked her up in his arm like he always liked to do, with her legs straight up in the air, and he and Mom kissed her goodbye over and over again and whispered to her while the vet put a needle into her leg. And then after about a minute she died in Daddy's arms. "It was so peaceful," Daddy said. "She wasn't in any pain at all, like she was just going to sleep." A couple of times while we talked, Dad's voice got trembly and he cleared his throat. "I've never seen Dad cry before, but I saw him cry tonight. I had gone into Mom and Dad's bedroom looking for Mom to put me to bed, but saw Dad sitting on the edge of the bed taking off his socks. His back was on the door, so he didn't know I was there. At first I thought he was laughing because his shoulder was shaking, but then he put his palms on his eye and I realized he was crying. It was the quietest crying I've ever heard, like a whisper. I was going to go over to him, but then I thought maybe he was a whisper crying because he didn't want me or anyone else to hear him. So I walked out and went to Via's room, and I saw Mom lying next to Via on bed, and Mom was whispering to Via, who was crying. So I went to my bed and put on my pajamas without anyone telling me to, and put the night light on, and turned the light off and crawled into the little mountain of stuffed animal I had left on my bed earlier. It felt like that all had happened a million years ago. I took my earring hearing aids off and put them on the night table and pull the covers up to my ears and imagine Daisy snuggling with me. Her big wet tongue licking my face all over like it was her favorite face in the world. And that's how I fell asleep.
This is chapter 86, My Cave. By dinner, they seemed to have made up. Dad was working late, Daisy was sleeping, they'd thrown up a lot earlier in the day, and Mom made an appointment to take her to the vet the next morning. The three of us were sitting down and no one was talking. Finally, I said, "So, are we going to see Justin in a play?" Via didn't answer, but looked down at her plate. "You know, Augie," said Mom quietly, "I hadn't realized what play it was, and it really isn't something that would be interesting to kids your age. So I'm not invited?" I said, looking at Via. "I didn't say that," said Mom. "It's just I don't think it's something you'd enjoy." "You'd get totally bored," said Via, like she was accusing me of something. "Are you and Dad going?" I asked. "Dad will go," said Mom. "I'll stay home with you." "What?" Via yelled at Mom. "Oh, great! So you're going to punish me for being honest by not going?" "You didn't want us to go in the first place, remember?" answered Mom. "But now that you know about it, of course I want you to go," said Via. "Well, I've got to weigh everyone's feeling here, Via," said Mom. "What are you talking about?" I shouted. "Nothing," they both snapped at the same time. "Just something about Via's school that had nothing to do with you," said Mom. "You're lying," I said. "Excuse me?" said Mom, kind of shocked. Even Via looked surprised. "I said you're lying," I shouted. "You're lying," I screamed at Via, getting up. "You're both liars. You're both lying to my face like I'm an idiot." "Sit down, Augie," said Mom, grabbing my arm. I pulled my arm away and pointed at Via. "You think I don't know what's going on?" I thought. "You just don't want your brand new fancy high school friends to know your brother's a freak." "Augie," Mom yelled. "That's not true." "Stop lying to me, Mom," I shrieked. "Stop treating me like a baby. I'm not retarded. I know what's going on." I ran down the hallway to my room and slammed the door behind me so hard that I actually heard little pieces of the wall crumble inside the door frame. So I plopped onto my bed and pulled the covers up on top of me. I threw my pillows over my disgusting face and then peeled all my stuffed animal on top of the pillows, like I was inside a little cave. If I could walk around with a pillow over my face all the time, I would. I don't even know how I got so mad. I wasn't really mad at the beginning of dinner. I wasn't even sad. But then all of a sudden, it all kind of just exploded me out of me. I knew Via didn't want me to go to a stupid play, and I knew why. I figured Mom would follow me into my room right away, but she didn't. I wanted her to find me inside my cave of stuffed animal. I waited a little more, but even after 10 minutes, she still didn't come in after me. I was pretty surprised. She always checks on me when I'm in my room, upset about stuff. I pictured Mom and Via talking about me in the kitchen. I figured Via was feeling really bad. I pictured Mom totally lying on the guilt, and Dad would be mad at her when he came home too. I made a little hole through the pile of my pillows and stuff, animals and pigs as a room clock on my wall. Half an hour has passed and Mom still hadn't come into my room. I tried to listen for the sounds in the other rooms. Was still having dinner? What was going on? Finally, the door opened. It was Via. She didn't even bother coming over to my bed, and she didn't come in softly like I thought she would. She came in quickly.
Goodbye, Augie, said Via. Come quick, Mom needs to talk to you. I'm not apologizing. This isn't about you, she yelled. Not everything in the world is about you, Augie. Now hurry up, Davy is sick. Mom's taking her to the emergency vet. Come say goodbye. I pushed the pillows off my face and looked up at her. That's when I saw she was crying. What do you mean goodbye? Come on, she said, holding out her hand. I took her hand and followed her down the hall to the kitchen. Davy was lying down sideways on the floor with her legs stretched out in front of her. She was panting a lot, like she had been running in the park. Mom was kneeling beside her, stroking the top of her head. What happened? I asked. She just started whimpering all of a sudden, said Via, kneeling down next to Mom. I looked down at Mom, who was crying too. I'm taking her to the animal hospital downtown, she said. The taxi is coming to pick me up. The vet will make her better, right? I said. Mom looked at me. I hope so, honey, she said quietly, but I honestly don't know. Of course he will, I said. Daisy has been sick a lot lately, Augie, and she's old. But they can fix her, I said, looking at Via to agree with me, but Via wouldn't look up at me. Mom's lips were trembling. I think it might be time we say goodbye to Davy, Augie. I'm sorry. No, I said. We don't want her to suffer, Augie, she said. The phone rang. Via picked it up and said, okay, thanks, and then hang up. The taxi's outside, she said, wiping her tears with the backs of her hands. Okay, Augie, open the door for me, sweetie, said Mom, picking Davy up very gently like she was a huge droopy baby. Please no, Mommy, I cried, putting myself in front of the door. Honey, please, said Mom, she's very heavy. What about Daddy? I cried. He's meeting me at the hospital, Mom said. He doesn't want Davy to suffer, Augie. Via moved me away from the door and held it open for Mom. My cell phone is on if you need anything, Mom said to Via. Can you cover her with a blanket? Via nodded. She was crying hysterically now. Say goodbye to Davy, kids, Mom said, tears streaming down her face. I love you, Davy, Via said, kissing Davy on the nose. I love you so much. Bye, little girlie. I whispered into Daisy's ear. I love you. Mom carried Davy down the stoop. The taxi driver had opened the back door and we watched her get in. Just before she closed the door, Mom looked up at us standing by the entrance to the building and she gave us a little wave. I don't think I've ever seen her look sadder. I love you, Mommy, said Via. I love you, Mommy, I said. I'm sorry, Mommy. Mom blew a kiss to us and closed the door. We watched the car leave and then Via closed the door. She looked at me a second and then she hugged me very, very tight while we both cried a million of tears.
85. Via's secret. A couple of days after spring break ended, Mom found out that Via hadn't told her about school play that was happening at her high school the next week, and Mom was mad. Mom doesn't really get mad that much, though Dad would disagree with that. But she was really mad at Via for that. She and Via got into a huge fight. I could hear them yelling at each other in Via's room. My bionic lowered ears could hear Mom saying, "But what is with you lately, Via? You're moody and taciturn and secretive. What is so wrong with my not telling you about a stupid play?" Via practically screamed, "I don't even have a speaking part in it. Your boyfriend's there. Don't you want to see him in it?" "No, actually I don't." "Stop screaming. You scream first. Just leave me alone, okay? You've been really good about leaving me alone my whole life. So why you choose high school to suddenly be interested?" I have no idea. That I don't know what Mom answered, because it all got very quiet, and even my bionic robot ears couldn't pick up a signal.
Hello, I'm Trần Hằng and this is the Chapter Heaven. I woke up later on it was still dark. I got out of bed and walked into Mom and Dad's bedroom. "Mommy," I whispered. It was completely dark, so I couldn't see her open her eyes. "Mommy?" You okay, honey? She says groggily. Can I sleep with you? Mom scooted over towards Daddy's side of the bed, and I snuggled up next to her. She kissed my hair. Is your hand okay? I said. Mia told me Daisy bit you. It was only a nip. She whispered in my ear. Mommy. I started crying. I'm sorry about what I said. Shh, there's nothing to be sorry about, she said so quietly I could barely hear her. She was rubbing the side of her face against my face. Is Via ashamed of me? I said. No, honey, no. You know she's not. She's just adjusting to a new school. It's not easy. I know you know. I'm sorry I called you a liar. Go to sleep, sweet boy. I love you so much. I love you so much too, Mommy. Good night, honey, she said very softly. Mommy, is Daisy with Grant now? I think so. Are they in heaven? Yes. Do people look the same when they get to heaven? I don't know. I don't think so. Then how do people recognize each other? I don't know, sweetie. She sounded tired. They just feel it. You don't need your eyes to love, right? You just feel it inside you. That's how it is in heaven. It's just love, and no one forgets who they love. She kissed me again. Now go to sleep, honey. It's late, and I'm so tired. But I couldn't go to sleep, even after I knew she had fallen asleep. I could hear Daddy sleeping too, and I imagined I could hear Via sleeping down the hallway in her room. And I wondered if Daisy was sleeping in heaven right then. And if she was sleeping, was she dreaming about me? And I wondered how it would feel to be in heaven someday and not have my face matter anymore, just like it never ever mattered to Daisy.
Hi, I'm Vũ Khánh Chi, and this is chapter 90, understudy from the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio. Via brought home 3 tickets to a school play a few days later. Daisy died. We never mentioned the fight we had over dinner again. On the night of a play, right before she and Justin were leaving to get to their school early, she gave me a big hug and told me she loved me and she was proud to be my sister. This was the first time in Via's new school. It was much bigger than her old school and 1,000 times bigger than my school. More hallways, more room for people. The only really bad thing about bionic low-batt hearing aids was the fact that I couldn't wear a baseball cap anymore. In situations like these, baseball caps come in really handy. Sometimes I could still get away with wearing that old astronaut helmet I used to wear when I was little. Believe it or not, people would think seeing a kid in an astronaut helmet was a lot less weird than seeing my face. Anyway, I kept my head down as I walked right behind Mom through the long, bright hallways. We followed the crowd to the auditorium where students handed out programs at the front entrance. We found seats in the 5th row, close to the middle. As soon as we sat down, Mom started looking inside her pocketbook. I can't believe I forgot my glasses, she said. Doc shook his head. Mom was always forgetting her glasses or her keys or something or other. She's flaky that way. You want to move closer? Said Dad. Mom squinted at the stage. No, I can see okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace, said Dad. I'm fine, answered Mom. Look, there's Justin, I said to Dad, pointing out Justin's picture in the program. That's a nice picture of him, he answered, nodding. How come there's no picture of Via? I said. She's an understudy, said Mom. But look, here's her name. Why do they call her an understudy? I asked. Well, look at Miranda's picture, said Mom to Dad. I don't think I would have recognized her. Why do they call it understudy? I repeated. It's what they call someone who replaces an actor if he can't perform for some reason, answered Mom. Do you hear Martin's getting remarried? Dad said to Mom. Are you kidding me? Mom answered like she was surprised. Who's Martin? I asked. Miranda's father. Mom answered, and then to Dad, who told you? I ran into Miranda's mother in the subway. She's not happy about it. He has a new baby on the way and everything. Wow, said Mom, shaking her head. What are you guys talking about? I said. Nothing, answered Dad. But why do they call it understudy? I said. I don't know, Augie Dokie, Dad answered. Maybe because the actors kind of study under the main actors or something. I really don't know. I was going to say something else, but then the lights went down. The audience got very quiet very quickly. Dad, can you please not call me Augie Dokie anymore? I whispered in Dad's ear. Dad smiled and nodded and gave me a thumbs up. The play started. The curtain opened. The stage was completely empty except for Justin, who was sitting on an old rickety chair tuning his fiddle. He was wearing an old-fashioned type of suit and a straw hat. This play is called Our Town, he said to the audience. It was written by Thornton Wilder, produced and directed by Philip Davenport. The name of the town is Grover's Corners, New Hampshire, just across the Massachusetts line, latitude 42 degrees 40 minutes, longitude 70 degrees 37 minutes. The first act shows a day in our town. The day is May 7, 1901. The time is just before dawn. I knew right then and there that I was going to like the play. It wasn't like other school plays I've been to, like The Wizard of Oz or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. No, this was grown-up seeming, and I felt smart sitting there watching it. A little later in the play, a character named Mrs. Webb calls out for her daughter, Emily. I knew from the program that that was the part Miranda was playing, so I leaned forward to get a better look at her. That's Miranda, Mom whispered to me, squinting at the stage when Emily walked out. She looks so different. It's not Miranda, I whispered. It's Via. Oh my God, said Mom, lurching forward in her seat. Shh, said Dad. It's Via, Mom whispered to him. I know, whispered Dad, smiling. Shh.
Chapter 90. Understudy. Via brought home 3 tickets to her school play a few days after Daisy died. We never mentioned the fight we had over dinner again. On the night of the play, right before she and Justin were leaving to get to the school early, she gave me a big hug and told me she loved me and she was proud to be my sister. This was my first time in Via's new school. It was much bigger than her old school, and 1,000 times bigger than my school. More hallways, more room for people. The only really bad thing about my bionic robot hearing aids was the fact that I couldn't wear a baseball cap anymore. In situations like these, baseball caps comes in really handy. Sometimes I wish I could still get away with wearing that old astronaut helmet I used to wear when I was little. Believe it or not, people would think seeing a kid in an astronaut helmet were a lot less than seeing my face. Anyway, I kept my head down as I walked right behind Mom through the long bright hallways. We followed the crowd into the auditorium, where students handed out programs at the front entrance. We found seats in the 5th row, close to the middle. As soon as we sat down, Mom started looking inside her pocketbook. I can't believe I forgot my glasses, she said. Dad shook his head. Mom was always forgetting her glasses or her keys or something or other. She's flaky that way. You want to move closer, said Dad. Mom squinted at the stage. No, I can see okay. Speak now or forever hold your peace, said Dad. I'm fine, answered Mom. Look, there's Justin, I said to Dad, pointing out Justin's pictures in the program. That's a nice picture of him, he answered, nodding. How come there's no picture of Via? I said. She's an understudy, said Mom. But look, here's her name. Why do they call her an understudy? I asked. Wow, look at Miranda's picture, asked Mom to Dad. I don't think I would have recognized her.
Why do they call it understudy? I repeat. It's what they call someone who replaces an actor if he can't perform for some reason, answered Mom. Did you hear Martin's getting married? Dad said to Mom. Are you kidding me? Mom answered like she was surprised. Who's Martin? I asked. Miranda's father. Mom answered, and then to Dad, who told you? I ran into Miranda's mother in the subway. She's not happy about it. He has a new baby on the way and everything. Wow, said Mom, shaking her head. What are you guys talking about? I said. Nothing, answered Dad. But why do they call it understudy? I said. I don't know, Oggy Doggy. He answered. Maybe because actors, they kind of study under the main actors or something. I really don't know. I was going to say something else, but then the lights went down. The audience got very quiet very quickly. Daddy, can you please not call me Oggy Doggy anymore? I whispered in Dad's ear. Dad smiled and nodded and gave me a thumbs up. The play started. The curtain opened. The stage was completely empty except for Justin, who was sitting on an old rickety chair, tuning his fiddle. He was wearing an old-fashioned type of suit and a straw hat. This play is called Our Town, he said to the audience. It was written by Thornton Wilder, produced and directed by Philip Davenport. The name of the town is Grover's Corner, New Hampshire, just across the Massachusetts line. Latitude 40 degrees 40 minutes, longitude 70 degrees and 37 minutes. The first act shows a day in our town. The day is May 7th, 1901. This time is just before dawn. I knew right when there and there that I was going to like the play. It wasn't like any other school plays I have been to, like The Wizard of Oz or Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. No, this was grown-up swimming and I felt smart sitting there watching it. A little later in the play, a character called Mrs. Weeb called out for her daughter Emily. I knew from the program that was the part Miranda was playing, so I leaned forward to get a better look at her. That's Miranda, Mom whispered me, squinting at the stage when Emily walked out. She looked so different. It's not Miranda, I asked. It's Via, oh my God, said Mom, lurching forward in her seat. Shh, said Dad. It's Via, Mom whispered to him. I know, whispered Dad, smiling. Shh.